The showdown eventually happened in 256 BC, off the coast of southern Sicily. At the Battle of Cape Economists, a reported 680 warships carrying 290,000 soldiers fought one of the most fierce naval battles in history.
Dad, can you tell me a bedtime story?
Sure. Last night, I told you the tale of Arabian Nights. Tonight, let me tell you a true story from over 2,000 years ago.
Cool! So this story actually happened?
Yes, it did, and its impact can be felt even today. This is the story of Punic Wars, wars between Rome and Carthage. About 2,300 years ago, there were two superpowers in the Western Mediterranean. Carthage was a flourishing business empire with a powerful navy and many colonies. Rome was a rapidly rising power with a strong army. Technologically and culturally, the Carthaginians were ahead of their neighbors. At its peak, Carthage, the city, had 700,000 people. For comparison, Athens, at its peak, had only 300,000 people. The mighty Carthaginian navy controls the Western Mediterranean. In addition, the Carthaginians had a brilliant general who was one of the most famous military leaders in history. His name was Hannibal. Both sides probably suspected there would eventually be a fight for control of Western Mediterranean, which to them at the time was basically the whole world. And in 264 BC, the first of three wars between Romans and Carthaginians broke out in Sicily. This conflict would be talked about for generations. By the end of the Third War, one side was completely destroyed. Most of the citizens on the losing side were slaughtered. The rest were sold into slavery. The victors burned everything on the loser side down to the ground. Warren, do you want to guess which side won?
They both seem strong. Did the Romans win?
Great guess. I told you the Carthaginians had all these advantages: wealth, a highly developed economy, a strong navy, a large population, and one of the best military commanders in history. Why did you guess Romans won the conflict?
Well, I haven't heard about Carthaginians. You said the impact of the war can be felt today. If the Carthaginians won, then we should have heard about them. You have told me a lot of stories about Romans before, but never about Carthaginians.
Great reasoning, Warren. The Romans became very strong after the Punic Wars and continued their expansion for several hundred years. Roman culture, religion, language, and laws would eventually help form Western societies the way they are today. But at the beginning of the First Punic War, the Romans had just taken over southern Italy and were not the mighty Roman Empire yet. Let's look at how the powerhouse Carthage lost to this newcomer.
Yay! Go on with the story, please.
Let's first look at the fighters on both sides. The main source of income for Carthaginians is commerce. The Carthaginians used slaves to farm their land. For warfare, they hired specialized mercenary troops to fight on their behalf. Its government was run by elected officials, who were mostly wealthy businessmen. The Romans were mostly farmers. This meant they had a big appetite for expansion of land. When they went to war, all male Roman citizens were expected to fight on Rome's behalf. This was considered an honor only Roman citizens could enjoy. The Carthaginians had fought the Greeks before in a series of conflicts called the Greco-Punic Wars. Both Carthage and Greece relied heavily on trade. Both had powerful navies. Their clashes mostly involved disagreements over colonies and trading posts. Once an agreement was reached, both sides went back to business. As the First Punic War broke out, the Carthaginians probably expected the Romans to behave like the Greeks, but they were wrong. In the First Punic War, which spanned over 23 years, fierce battles happened everywhere, but the largest and the bloodiest battles happened on the sea.
Dad, you said the Carthaginians had a stronger navy. So did the Romans lose on the sea?
One would have thought. If the Carthaginians controlled the waters till the end, Romans would not have posed any threat to Carthaginian territory. Then they probably would have lost.
Wow, how did the Romans win against a better navy?
Good question. The Carthaginians had a long history of traveling on the Mediterranean because they were traders. Most Romans, on the other hand, had almost no experience sailing on open water, let alone fighting on it. Polybius, a Greek historian at the time of the Third Punic War, told the following story. Before the First Punic War broke out, Romans knew they wanted Carthage's wealth and colonies, but they had no advanced battleships, which were top-secret technology at the time. One day, a stranded Carthaginian warship was washed ashore on Roman soil. It was a powerful quintereme, meaning 5-oared. The Romans were thrilled. They took the warship apart and studied how it was built. Soon, they built a large navy based on this prototype.
Wow, they were able to catch up just like that?
Not quite. They still lost to Carthaginians in the first couple of battles on water. In the Battle of Lipari Islands, Romans lost 17 ships and surrendered to Carthaginian commander Gisco. The Romans were simply outmaneuvered. They needed something that would make fighting on water more like fighting on land. Soon, an invention called corvus, or the crow, made the dream come true. Once a Roman warship gets close to an enemy ship, the heavy spike-shaped peak on the underside of the corvus crashes into the enemy ship. Roman soldiers would then quickly cross over to the other ship. There, it becomes a fight on land, and that's where Romans were the best in the world.
And the Romans started to win naval fights?
Yes. During the 23-year-long war, both sides were close to victory or defeat on several occasions, but a few key battles eventually turned the tide against the Carthaginians. Let's look at one of the most famous naval battles in the First Punic War, the Battle of Cape Economists. After Roman adoption of Corvus, the Carthaginians were defeated in naval battles at Mylae in 260 BC and Sulci in 257 BC. But these small victories didn't damage the mighty Carthaginian navy much. Both sides knew a large-scale showdown would eventually happen. As a result, both sides spent huge amounts of money and manpower to increase the size of their navies. The showdown eventually happened in 256 BC, off the coast of southern Sicily. At the Battle of Cape Ectomus, a reported 680 warships carrying 290,000 soldiers fought one of the most fierce naval battles in history.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Yes. I'm not sure about the accuracy of these numbers. In the biggest naval battle in World War II, the Battle of Leyte Gulf, 200,000 soldiers participated. But the Battle of Cape Ecnomus happened over 2,000 years ago. How could they coordinate so many fighters on so many ships? Also at the time, Roman army was roughly 100,000 strong. How could Rome come up with 140,000 fighters on this naval fight? But anyhow, even if the numbers are inaccurate, this was definitely the largest naval engagement at the time. Both the Roman and Carthaginian navies broke up after the initial encounter. One Carthaginian squadron pretended to retreat, luring the front Roman warships into pursuit. The rest of the Carthaginian warships then circled around and attacked Roman warships in the back, cutting them off from the rest of the Roman navy. Carthaginians had counted on the faster speed of their battleships and the superior skills of their crew to win this battle. But with the rapid increase in their navy size, a lot of Carthaginian new recruits lacked the skills, and Romans had worked really hard to improve their battleships, so the advantage was not as big as the Carthaginians thought. Warships on both sides were rammed and sunken. Some groups were trapped by the opposite side and were barely holding on, hoping others would come to their rescue. The battle became a brawl that dragged on for hours with heavy casualties on both sides. Their fate was decided by the two fleet centers, where their main forces were. This was where Roman troops' sense of honor and determination mattered, seeing countless people around them bleeding, suffering, and dying. The Romans continued, but some Carthaginians in the center eventually lost heart and started to flee. This sealed the outcome of the battle. The Romans were able to concentrate their attacks on the now outnumbered enemy. After a long, hard day of fighting, Carthaginians had been decisively defeated, losing 94 ships, compared to Romans' loss of 24 ships. The Carthaginians lost around 30,000 to 40,000 men, with the majority being captured. The Romans lost 10,000, with the majority being killed. The war eventually ended in 241 BC with a Roman victory at the Battle of the Aegates Islands. The Carthaginian navy was destroyed. Roman navy would dominate Western Mediterranean for the next 600 years. Warren, did you learn something from the First Punic War? I will let you think about it. If you're good, we can talk about the Second Punic War tomorrow, which is the most famous of the three wars.
Carthage fought against Rome again, even after such a big defeat?
Yes. Even though Carthage was weakened, General Hannibal, with his military brilliance, single-handedly almost brought Rome to its knees. I'll tell you what I learned from the First Punic War. It may be a sound business decision to earn money in commerce and then pay for someone else to fight and bleed for you. But when it's a matter of life and death for you and your nation, you can't always count on people who fight on your side for money. You have to have the courage and heart to fight for yourself.
Got it, Dad. I can't wait to hear about the Second Punic War. Here's my joke of the day. What did one ice cube say to the other ice cube who was new in town? I'll give you some time to think about it. 3, 2, 1. The answer is, "Ice to meet you." Thank you for watching. Please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons below. You can turn on the notification bell if you wish to be notified when our next video comes out. Thanks!